1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, bonjour. So I'm in Paris right now, and it looks dark right now, and we're in our hotel room. But we're actually here late afternoon, and we're just kind of laying low.
Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier.
It's close to 90 degrees today. It's going to get up to 94 tomorrow. So Paris, France is just as hot as Paris, Texas, within a couple degrees actually. So we arrived about noon today, and we took the train from Ghent to Brussels to Paris and took a series of subways, and it's very humid here today, so we're going to try to wait till the sun goes down a little bit. And in the meantime, I thought I would sort of put together how this podcast is going to work. We've done a lot of things. We've been to Brussels, Cantillon, we went to Roeselare, Rodenbach. I did a brief video segment for Brussels Beer Weekend.
Well, I'm here at the Belgian Beer Weekend in Brussels, and thought I'd take a moment to sort of describe how this festival differs from those in the United States. First and foremost, there's no entry fee. You do pay for beers. It's a fair price, and there are some things you have to do. You have to go ahead and get a card. And as you can see, I'm going to cover this up so it doesn't set off my camera, but there's a QR code, and you have to load up your card, and you pay per sample. And once you get past the QR code, if your phone is set right, you can use RFID, and you can load up the card, and each of the individual breweries can see how many credits you have left, and you can go back and charge it up later if you want to. Now, the other things that differ are each of the breweries bring their own logoed glassware, and I think they charge you €2 for the pleasure of drinking out of the glass, and it gets. There might be a way to recover this, but I think I might keep this one. You go and you order the beer, and a lot of people just leave them on tables, and so there's a lot of legwork if you're a brewery. You have to collect all these glasses and wash them. Each one of these tents that you can see behind me has a wash-up area, so it is pretty labor-intensive. But as we know, this is one of the things about Belgian beer culture, where they really like to see the logoed glassware. You go anywhere in a beer bar here that's worth its salt, and they're going to serve the beer in the appropriate glassware, and they're very particular about the shape. Each of the styles is represented in, and of course the logoing, which is something we're not used to. We're drinking craft beer out of Bud Light glasses a lot of times. Now, there is an exception to the rule. Hopefully we'll get there in a couple days. We're going to go to this place called Het Velicha, and they don't give a shit about glassware. So if we get a chance to get there, we'll do it. And yes, this is the classic West Veteran 12. It's not available in a lot of places. A lot of people search all over for this or trade for it. And I'm here to tell you, when it just kind of finds you in life and you know you're not going to make it out to the monastery, and you're just at a festival and you can buy a sample like this for €2, life's pretty good. Cheers.
beers. We did some other things in Ghent and Bruges, Brugge. Bruges would be the French, Brugge Dutch or Flemish. So I think I'm going to save some of the more beer things for when I can sit down with Andrew and he can ask me questions and we can have more of a conversation. So I did film a brief segment in Ghent the other day, and it was mostly about traveling and noticing different consumer products in consumer packaged goods in Europe here. And I bought a few more things today, a couple of beers and potato chips. And if I'll go ahead and play the segment on Ghent as it relates to beer, and then I'll record this other segment here in Paris, and we'll stitch those together and we'll put out this episode. If you are listening on the podcast, some of the elements are video driven. I will try to describe what I'm seeing, so you can listen in on the audio podcast. But if you're curious, there is a video on YouTube, and hopefully you'll get a chance to check that out. So with that, I'll switch over to the Ghent component, and then I'll return and talk about some beers we had today. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone had a great Labor Day. I was here in Ghent, Belgium, and just kind of finishing up my vacation, and was inspired to post a few things about consumer product goods. So this henceforth will be the consumer products good, or this week in consumer products good, if I'm following the John Hall ethos on reporting everything all the time on the most popular stuff. So I was at breakfast this morning, and it's a little different than your standard Hilton / Hampton Inn, make your own waffle, some rehydrated eggs, and a piece of meat. It is a little bit about that. They do have the eggs, and if you can get past the eggs, I know some people have a sensitivity to, especially when the Europeans make scrambled eggs. They're much looser. They're a little wetter. I actually don't mind that at all. The bacon is a little bit weird. Sometimes the sausages are a little drier. We're used to all that fat, I guess, in our sausages. But if you can get past that, I think there's a lot of things that are different about it. First of all, you get about 17 different kinds of breads. The kind you slice yourself, and different rolls, croissant type things. So I'm here actually. This is what is this called? It's the Monasterium. It's a converted hotel that was a monastery, and there were actually nuns here since 1998. So we were here in 2007. It was relatively new. It's improved quite a bit. They've added a lot of modern things to it in terms of having a coffee machine in your room, and a more Americanized shower. When you're traveling in Europe, sometimes if you're the first person, you have to give the safety talk to the next person. In terms of treacherous flooring, very complicated and confusing hot and cold water. But I think we're just used to having 3 or 4 set of fixtures that are standard in the United States. Anyway, back to consumer product goods, because I think they track a little bit with what's going on in consumer product goods. These are things that we buy. These are things that our breweries try to stay ahead of, maybe be a little bit edgy, maybe too much for our own comfort level if we've been in this for a while. But I was at breakfast, and they have this complete bar with all kinds of the breads I talked about, cold cuts, soft cheeses generally, different breads, and then they have the basic Americanized eggs and the weird kind of bacon that never ever gets crisp. But at this little side table is these boxes just full of these small containers. Everyone's familiar with Nutella. So you've got this sort of, I don't know, blister pack, plastic bottom, with the foil top. And I'm not, I mean, I like the flavor of Nutella, but it's just not something I'm not interested in sweetening up my breakfast at all. I like it probably more savory. But if you are, this was the go-to, and this is definitely a European product that has made it over to the United States and certainly been in our public consciousness. And I dare say it's kind of like the milkshake IPA, lactose IPA of these kinds of things, because it was the first thing to make a big boom, and they had a bunch of YouTubers sort of celebrating all things Nutella. In addition to that, they had this circular container, all metal bottom, foil top, Douvray syrup de Liege, and it's supposed to be. It translates to the syrup of pear apple. So I'm not sure if it's an apple or a pear, but it's certainly got a sort of. If you're watching YouTube, I'll show you, but it has this sort of custardy, well, not custardy, custard consistency, or a syrup, a gel, but it's sort of this brown, amber. So it's sweet, and it has like brown apples, is what I would say. So, syrup de purées de pomme at Pommes. I don't know. It's apple. Poires. I think translate to pear. So is it pear apple? I have no idea. But that seems to be in a lot of places. I have another round plastic container with a foil top, and this is Candico Candide syrup de candy. Okay, so that's going to be something. There's a picture of a pancake with a bunch of it rolling down. This has the look. It's brown on the package, but if you look at it, it looks like molasses or engine oil. And it's it's molasses, because I almost get it on my laptop. So that's supposed to be for pancakes. It's super sugary. It is definitely consistent with the candy sugar you would use as a home brewer. It definitely has that aftertaste. Super rich. What do we have here? We have another plastic container. The brand name is Quatta, Kwatta, or probably Kvata. The original since 1877. It's got a yellow package with a smiley face on it. This looks like hazelnut paste. So if I'm comparing it to Nutella, it's probably a little less sweet. Again, YouTube, that's what that looks like. Definitely nutty. So if you're like me and Nutella is just a little too sweet, this is not bad. And I imagine the Nutella, the syrup de candy, the candy syrup, that's clearly for pancakes, or I think any of these sort of croissant pastries, those types of things. If you wanted to amp it up a little bit, that would be the medium for it. I know there's probably some in the United States who's made a Nutella beer. So if you want to switch up that trademark violation breweries, try the Kvata brand. Also in this Kvata brand are these milk chocolate jimmies, more or less. Same yellow packaging, Kvata. It's in a little, it looks like a tiny cereal box. Maybe it's matchbook sized. And there's a little perforation on the side to coax these little guys out. And you can hear, if you're listening to the podcast, me shaking them out. I mean, they're indistinguishable from chocolate jimmies. And let's see if I can get the camera down here to chocolate jimmies, right? And there's a picture on the box. Looks like a bagel, and there's cream cheese on it, and they've sprinkled the jimmies on, and the cavata faces on it. It's it's a little blackface ish. I don't know if that would really fly here in the United States. I mean, it's not quite there, but careful with that. So, yeah, milk jimmies. Very cocoa finish, very dry finish. Powdery, I mean, not necessarily dry in the sweet sense. It is definitely sweet. So, with that hazelnut beer, you could probably sprinkle these on the rim somehow, or decorate around the beer for your social media types. Just giving you a little free idea there. I don't know. Be like the michelada of Belgian beers. Now, these products, I have not seen anyone in Belgium make beers that way. Definitely, it's still tradition is the way. We were in Rodenbach yesterday, Roselaire, and they're introducing a fruitage product. Maybe I can pull up a bottle if I have time to edit this video. It says fruitage, and it says with natural fruit, 100% natural. No mention of the flavor, although we were told, and it's confirmed by drinking it, it's cherry. It's like 3.2%, and they encourage their retailers to sell it, or their consumers and their retailers to sell it over ice with a twist of lime. Of the 3 times Brenda had it, it was about 50-50 whether, actually it was only 1/3 of the time she got it that way. Most times it was just served in a glass like a regular beer. And, our tour guide, Belinda, shared with us that they did some focus groups, and they're looking at targeting the 18 to 25 market. And if you're Rodenbach and you just have you make 1-2 batches of beer that are basically of the same type, and all you're doing is blending, or you're doing a full blend, which is the vintage, something like a 3/4 blend for the Grand Cru. The standard is 1 part old beer to 3 parts new beer. If that's your whole game, then having fruitage makes sense. And if you understand that they're looking for that kind of market penetration, then that's all you need to know about the level of innovation here in Belgium. It is steeped in tradition, and everything tries to amplify that. So I don't see any of these breweries using any of these hazelnut products, or definitely candy sugar, but not promoted after the fact as a consumer product good collaboration. I want to end this little segment finally with Lotus Biscoff. If you're familiar with Biscoff, it's something that you have at your coffee. It's a little, it's kind of a sugary cookie. You get them on airplanes these days occasionally. They're not quite a stroopwafel, which I regret to say we didn't have those with our coffee this morning. But I saw this. It's in the plastic container, so it's just if you're familiar, it has a picture of the Biscoff. But you see the container, you're like, oh, this has got to be a paste because it's in this. In the nomenclature of the United States, this is what you put your ketchups and your barbecue sauces, your dipping sauces for chicken. That size of container, and the whole idea, the foil wrap on it. But so I'm like, what is this? It's clearly a biscotti, right? Again, that cookie that you would have with coffee or tea, but it's in this container that suggests a paste. So you open it up, and indeed it is a paste. It looks like peanut butter, but it's not, and it tastes just like you ground a Biscoff cookie into a paste. This is genius. So do you put this on your Biscoff to get like a double Biscoff? Do you make yourself a Biscoff sandwich? You sandwich them like an Oreo? Does Oreo come out with just a paste? Because eventually all its consumers that start out eating this when they're 4 years old lose all their teeth, and so the Oreo cookie of the future is just a paste. I don't know. I mean, you can think of wackier things. I mean, I grew up in an era where we ate wax candy. What the fuck is that? This is actually good. I might mix this in my coffee. I don't know. I didn't see a lot of people using any of these products. I see them every time I go to Europe, all these little containerettes. I'm not sure what I don't know. I might have to do some digging and ask and interrogate people while they're eating breakfast. So that's the end of this little segment on consumer product goods here in Belgium. Again, we're in Ghent. We're staying at the Monasterium. It's got a different name. Poort. Figure it out. This is my little guidebook to Ghent. Let's see. Just to sort of contextualize this, we flew into Paris, took the train to Brussels, immediately went to a couple places, ran into some folks, might run into some again, ran into some folks from Arizona, people that we know in the industry, some Ash folks. Went to Cantillon to tour. I'll do a little video on that at some point. I have a little Cavata chocolate jimmies in my keyboard of my computer now. Went to Roselaire. We did the Cantillon tour in Brussels, went to Roselaire, did the Rodenbach tour. Now we're in Ghent. We spent the evening doing a few things, and we probably will go to Bruges. So, yeah. And we have another night here at the Monasterium, and I will get the actual name right if I broadcast from here again. All right, everybody. Enjoy those Arizona beers. I will see you soon. Right, if you were listening closely, I referred to it as consumer product goods. It's consumer packaged goods, CPG. You'll have to excuse me. It was early morning, and yeah, drinking was involved the night before. We actually had a vertical of Rodenbach 2019, 2018, 2019, and 2020. It was the 100-year anniversary, our 200-year anniversary of Rodenbach. So we had those in the hotel, just because we wanted to have some more beer, I guess. Anyway, CPG. So it is today, as I explained, we're just kind of trying to stay out of the heat. I went to a grocery store. I guess it'd be more like a bodega size. Lots of products. This seems to be a nicer end of town, high end. I walked by a caviar store as an example. But I picked out a couple beers. Actually picked out three, but I only had two. As it turns out, this desk is right next to the refrigerator, which is very handy. I should probably incorporate that into my. I did not drink this one. This is Genlain, which is a French brewery. Sometimes you see their. This is the Beer de Garde. Sometimes you'll see their saison. Or seasonal, more of a Christmas saison. So I thought I'd maybe give this a try later. But in the meantime, the ones that we had were a Session IPA and a West Coast IPA. The first beer, the Session IPA, is brewed by La Brasserie Fondamentale. It is a French product. My understanding is the brewery is about 2 hours outside of Paris. Which direction, I don't know. And this is a Session IPA at 5%, which I think is a little high on the Session end. in my experience. But we split this beer, Brenda and I. And I'd have to say it was more. It was both beers that we had were clean. Um, both on the easy drinking side. Certainly wasn't challenged very much by the West Coast IPA. I'll get into that in a little bit. But this session I drank more like a blonde. There was some hop presence in the aroma and the flavor. It wasn't very lingering. Maybe that's not what you want for a session IPA. There was a nice creamy body to it. Had a nice head of retention. Um, it being we've got air conditioning in this hotel room, but it's really struggling to keep up. So coming off the street, um, just lathered in sweat. This was a good choice. Um, we actually had it with potato chips, and let me tell you, uh, we like to travel with Pringles. I don't know if it's both of us grew up. It was kind of a throwback to when your uh, parents sort of put together a picnic lunch for you. Um, but the Pringles here, whenever I travel, even internationally, sometimes they have crazy flavors. They were the originators of the crazy flavored potato chip, right? And sometimes I like to say that when people say that uh, beers have gone too far by including all these exotic flavors, I'm like, let me tell you about potato chips. It started kind of with Pringles, and you'll note if you look at the international flavors um, for Lay's potato chips or other chips, you can get on the internet and you can literally buy, I don't know, 30 or 40 different flavors of potato chip, and some of them are pretty exotic, like um, crayfish boil, steak, Italian flavor, which has like it looks like spaghetti sauce on it. Um, just um, Asian barbecue. I mean that's probably you know a nicer way to put some of the flavors I put in. I mean, it's like think of an Asian food, and uh, that's what uh, they're putting on the potato chips. Um, and sometimes it's funny is that their take on American foods, like again the spaghetti, they'll like have hamburger flavor or whatever. Um, that's where it sort of gets interesting. In any case, we picked up some Pringles, and um, internationally, they're built the same, but way less salt. You get a lot more potato flavor out of the Pringles that we got here in France. Um, I also got what did I get? Uh, I got like basically country ham. Um, the brand is Vico, and it's Savour Hambon des Pays, which I guess is country ham. And these potatoes are made in the Picardy region. And I couldn't really identify if they were using MSG or some other autolyzed yeast product to give it that sort of um, it's kind of umami flavor. I tried to do a Google Translate on it, um, but let's see. Getting back to the session IPA, um, on the back of the bottle, I did the Google Translate. It says, "What is a session IPA? Session beers refer to the session during which the beers are being drunk. English workers drink beer at work, and it's low in alcohol." Uh, boy, there's some sort of word salad going on here, but and again, if you're watching the video, I'll kind of put that up there. Um, so I mean, they get the idea of what that is. Also, there's a QR code in there to win a trip to Oktoberfest. So I don't know if you can win from the United States, but you're all certainly welcome to scan the bottle that I put up on the internet. So again, it drank more like a blonde. It was a welcome beer today on a hot day. Um, so let's see, what else we drink? Oh, we did the West Coast IPA. So let me pull that up on my screen here. Okay, the second beer we had was a West Coast IPA, or a Nouveau Western, from Gallia. It is a Paris-based brewery, and it on the back of the label. Let's see if we can pull that up. It says an IPA that speaks of citrus fruits, fresh herbs, and needles, which I'm guessing are pine. The secret, the selection of 4 hops of this beautiful, this is beautiful length. I don't know what that means. It's water, barley malt, wheat malt, Sante hops, and it's got Columbus and Centennial, and it says Armadillo wax, but I'm gonna guess that's Amarillo wax. I'm gonna guess that's just Amarillo. Yeast, carbon dioxide, so on and so forth. So this one, again, had some light hop aroma. Again, a little bit creamy sensation. Not a lot of malt, although this is 6% alcohol. Not what I would consider in the range of what most of you who enjoy that style to be, higher strength. I think we're using at least 7 with the hop bitterness to sort of match that. Both beers are pretty clear. Pretty happy with it. I'd probably buy it again if I was just going to crush the heat. So I probably should tighten this up and get it out, and then we'll get the full shebang with Andrew and I once we get back to Phoenix. And we'll have some other things to talk about because the fall is here, and we've got some events coming up and things that you're going to want to know. And I think we're going to release some strong beer tickets too pretty soon. So, au revoir from Paris.